What I wanted my whole life is to be back on the land, to how our people used to be. You weren't put on this earth just to have it end so quickly. You were put on this earth for a reason. And the people in your life will know that. What I always say when I go through hard times is, will this matter within a year from now? Where will I be within a year from now? That's what kept me going. And even though things do get hard and things fall to the ground, you still get up in the end. I'm gonna keep going for my people and for myself as well, so.
First off, how are you?
I'm good, I'm
and
very
how was
good.
the drive?
It was actually really nice. Listened to some good music. I had a live little concert in there, but it was really nice. It's been really nice being back, especially being up in the north. There's not much to do and stuff. All my family and friends are down here, so it's really nice. Especially you welcoming me on this podcast. I was so excited. I was like, oh my God, my first podcast. But yeah.
I'm super grateful that you were able to find some time in all of the craziness that's been going on with all of the premiere events and stuff like that, and lots of travel. You flew down here from Yellowknife?
Yeah, direct flight, like 2 hours.
Oh.
And it felt like more than that. It felt like 4 hours. It was like crazy.
Holy crap. How teeny tiny is the airport up there?
It's actually pretty like a decent size.
Oh, okay.
But it's
That's
not
surprising.
Like huge.
That's on
small,
me.
Yeah.
That's
on me.
That's a stereotype. That's on me. But yeah, so like, I haven't seen you really since, oh my God, like since a little bit after we did our promo shoot for the first season and stuff like that. And I just want to say again, I know I've said this before, but a lot of people have asked about you through the intros and asked about you through the promo footage that we got, like the photos and the sign and stuff like that too.
I love it.
It's really cool to have you finally on the podcast here talking about your life, how you got into everything, but we'll get into that in a little bit. I'd love to like jump right into like the early years of you finding your way through your community, living out in Rocky Mountain House as a Indigenous person, and finding your way to fancy dancing. In general. Would you like to jump into that?
Yeah. So I actually moved around a lot when I was under the age of 7. So I moved from like Northwest Territories, Saskatoon, and all different kinds of places with my dad and my brother. But then I settled in Rocky Mountain House when I was like 7, around then. Growing up there wasn't bad. Like when I first started growing up there, like it was pretty popular with the kids, like, you know, new kid at the school and everything. And I had a lot of friends for the first little bit, but then after a while it kind of decreased. Only because I'm like an urban Indigenous kind of person. So being that I was too brown for the white kids and I was too white for the Native kids. And it was, I didn't realize that until I got older. I was like, oh, dang. Because I never really got along with anyone that much. But then when I did feel disconnected or I didn't feel like I belonged anywhere, the culture is where it came through. My dad was into it a little bit. He taught me about it a little bit, especially hunting. But then my stepmom came into my life and she taught me some things as well, like beading and things. But she got me into fancy dancing when I was like 12. And I originally wanted to do traditional, but she was like, no. She's like, you have too much energy. Like you should do fancy dancing. I was like, oh, okay, whatever.
She knew. Right,
yeah, I know. I didn't know. I was like, as a kid, I was like, no, I want to do that. But so I got into fancy dancing, and ever since then, it's been like such a big part of my life. I did stop for a few years because my family didn't go to powwows and stuff like that. So me growing up, I started getting into the culture more without my family. So going to ceremonies like sweat lodges, getting my Native name and things like that. And it always made me feel like something where I belonged somewhere. when I didn't feel like I belonged anywhere. So yeah. And then when I got into the modeling, and that was a weird feeling, a really weird feeling, because I didn't think I was going to get that far. I didn't think I was going to, succeed in anything that much, because of how much I talked down on myself. But once I got into the modeling, it picked up quite a bit. I got some creative shoots and everything, and it was really fun. And then from there, gone to acting. Well, no, not from the modeling, but my dad was an actor. So when he was an actor, I got into it because he gave me auditions and stuff like that. His agent did. And his agent took me in. And then from there, just throughout the year, kept doing auditions and auditions and auditions. So yeah.
You mentioned the hunting with your dad.
Yeah.
I'm curious, what was the first thing you ended up going out there for? Yeah.
Let me think here. I think my first thing I caught was prairie chicken.
A prairie chicken.
A prairie chicken
Nice.
was my first one because I only hunted small game, and then my dad would hunt like the big game, so like moose and bucks and deers and stuff like that. So every time he did, I'd go out with him and I'd help skin it. And
so he taught you all of the nitty gritties.
Exactly.
And stuff like that.
Yes. Yeah. But then he taught me how to do like the whole giving something to creator and stuff like that with tobacco, but he wasn't like really into it. He didn't know like the whole thing to it.
Just like kind of the vague practices of
exactly.
giving back.
Just being like, oh yeah, say thank you to the animal and thank you to creator and stuff. Put tobacco. Okay. But then later on, I figured out there was a more deeper meaning to it. I found out that like when you do offering like that, you put the tobacco on your left side because your heart's on your left side. So then you do your prayer and you put it down on the ground. And then if it's the same thing of giving things to people. If you give someone to someone, hey, here's this, I gave it to you, give it from the left side, and they grab it from the right, and it's just one big circle around. But I learned that, and then like through hunting and that, not only am I like being like, oh, I want meat, I want food or whatever, it's being close to something. Like I don't know the feeling of being out on the land. Like, for example, I went to Rocky Mountain House like 2-3 days ago, and that's when I caught my squirrel. But it took me 2 shots to get him, I think, and then I got him on my 3rd shot, and he fell to the ground. And I walked up to him, and I felt so bad because I got him in the neck, and he was still alive, and I didn't have my knife on me. And I felt really bad. And so I sat, and I have cried over like squirrels. This is like my 2nd time crying over a squirrel I killed. I sat down on the ground. I was like, oh my God. And he was twitching like it was crazy. And I was like, oh my God.
Oh no.
And I felt so bad. But I started talking to it and it calmed down and it just started breathing. And then it passed away. But when I was doing that, it felt connecting in a way. I don't know how to describe it because he was freaking out because, of course, he's in pain and stuff. But when I sat next to him and I started talking to him, he calmed down and slowly passed away. So I've always had that feeling that I was connected to something. I just didn't know what. And so to this day, it's like, I don't feel like I belong in certain places, even with the modeling and acting. Like, it's really hard to go to these things because it's like I still feel out of place. And it's awkward most of the time. So,
I mean, like, it's a very common occurrence. A lot of people who do grow up urban Indigenous, I'm also urban Indigenous, and there's also the aspect of like my mom's side too, who's Chinese and Vietnamese. So there's a multicultural aspect there, but a lot of that stuff was suppressed just to try to fit in with the public school system, with just being in a city, right? And it teaches you a lot of tools on just how to be a drifter.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And that took me quite a while to overcome, and there's still moments where I do feel like a chameleon a lot of the times, especially when I'm going out on reserve to do programs and stuff like that. It's really hard to not feel immediately judged.
Yeah, exactly.
And it does show that there is still a lot of racism and a lot of discrimination, no matter which side of the fence that you're on. Yeah, right. Exactly. So. But that connection that you had with the squirrel, that's really beautiful. I'm really happy you took the time to breathe and to sit there with it, because that in itself is a big teaching. That's why hunting is so important. It's not just for resources, right? You're essentially taking the life away from something else just so that you can live.
Exactly.
Right. So
Yeah. It's weird telling those stories. Like, I don't tell much people about my stories of like out on the land and feeling connected in those ways because, like I said, it was too white for the native kids and I was too brown for the white kids. And so when I tell them these stories, they think I'm crazy. And it's like, well, I never felt like I belonged. And when I was there, I felt like I was not needed, but that I was connected to something. I don't know how to describe it. It was weird. So when I have these feelings and stuff, like I don't talk to people much about it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's really easy to throw that to the wayside, but like what you essentially are explaining, you reconnected back to the land just through that small act, right? And when you reconnect after such a long time of not being connected, it's a rush of emotions, right? But that rush of emotions is natural, and it's needed. We do water workshops, like cleansing workshops on the river out at the historic site. You remember doing one of those too, right?
Yeah.
And just recently, in the last couple of years, we've had some students from the university up in Edmonton come down to do those teachings.
Wow.
And both times, like half of the class that would come out here, like faculty and teachers included, would end up bawling their eyes out, feet first in the river, because that's the first time for some of those students and some of those teachers that they've ever did that, even though there's a river flowing through Edmonton, right? But you get so caught up in those cement jungles that you forget that you need to focus on yourself, and you do need to connect back to the earth. Otherwise, you're always going to deal with that feeling of disconnection, right?
Yeah, especially like being up in the north and stuff, like feeling more connected to the land and stuff. Where I work, my boss has been really helpful with that because like I lost touch because of those reasons. I'd be like, oh, people just think I'm crazy and stuff like that, of feeling wanted or like feeling welcome to the land and stuff like that. Like I'd rather be alone and stuff in a little small cabin in the middle of nowhere, away from society type of thing. But when I do talk about these things, like it's funny. You do find those odd people who will understand that feeling.
Yep.
And when you do, it's like, oh, it's such a relief because like my work there, like my boss is always into that kind of stuff. He really encourages for our younger staff, especially me, to be connected to the land and that to continue singing, to continue like with the medicines and stuff like that. So being up there is really nice because everyone is culturally like connected in a way. You have to meet the right people though up in the north. But
there's a lot more people that understand the need for that connection, right?
Exactly.
And the moment you come across someone that gets it, it feels like the closest thing I can explain it to is like, you know, when on a cloudy day, the clouds finally open up and you can feel the heat from the sun for the first time all day.
Yes.
That's exactly what that feels like.
Yes, that's how I felt when I went back up there. It was like, oh my God. And I got to do high tanning for the first time. And
really?
Yeah, it was so much fun. I got to do like ice fishing also too. I went to like this wellness camp for like a whole week. I got to sit with elders. And then with my job too, I've been going to different places. So when I first started working there, I was going through a lot with my family. When I first got up there, I was really emotional because of my late mom. She's in Fort Providence, and I always dreamt about going to her gravesite because I never got to go to her funeral. And then our tour group did a thing for this like youth group type of stuff, and we went to Fort Providence and we did kayaking or canoeing up on the Mackenzie River and went to this like little cabin area. And that's where I met my coworker Lillian. She's really cool. But
shout out to Lillian.
Shout out to Lillian. Love you, girl. Anyways, I met her there, but it was so cool because all those girls were like really connected. Like they all were singing on the bus. They loved being out in the land. But when I was there, I met some people. I met the chief of Fort Providence. And when I told them my late mom was laying in Fort Providence, and that what my last name was and stuff, they were all like, oh, really? And they're like, oh, interesting. Okay, I know those people. I know your mom. And I was like, really? And they're like, yeah, we know your late mom. And after we did like a whole sharing circle, after we were done, I went to go walk out because like I just finished crying after talking. And then the chief comes up to me and he goes, I have 2 people that want to meet you. And I was like, oh, and he's like, those are your auntie and uncle on your mom's side. I was like, really? And so I walked up and I walked to them and they gave me a big hug and I just started bawling. And they gave me this round rock. And they said, these are my people and that I was always welcome there. And that my mom was there and that she lies there and stuff. And so when I was there, it was such like a connecting, healing moment because that's when I felt like I could finally move on from the grieving process of my late mom, even though it's been years and stuff. It's finally where it's like at the point where I'm like, okay, I can be okay with her passing.
Yeah.
So yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was a lot.
You know, the reconnection back to, you know, those who came before you and finding new family members, it's so important to understanding who you actually are, right?
Mm-hmm.
And especially coming from an urban indigenous perspective, you kind of grow up feeling like you don't have a place
exactly
anywhere.
Yeah.
Right. So growing up that way and then finally like finding these family members that are so connected to your mom, like how was that feeling for you? Was it like a full circle moment? Did it feel like certain things were able to be healed now?
Yeah, it did, because when I went back to Fort Smith, actually, I met my Gookum for the first time in years, my Gookum Katie on my late mom's side. And it was an emotional moment because when my mom passed away, my dad cut all contact from that side of the family. And so a lot of that family members really missed us. And me and my brother were like the last piece of like my late mom. So it hurt them a lot that we weren't a part of their lives anymore. Yeah. So when I went to my Gookum Katie's place and I walked in and she looked at me, I just started bawling, and then she hugged me and she's like, my girl. And she kept saying that I look exactly like my late mom and stuff. She kept calling me her baby and everything. And then she's like, oh, we got to call your auntie Darlene. Okay. So we call her and I'm sitting there and she's like, she'll sound exactly like your mom. Because I told her I forgot her voice. And I told her I want video of her because I want to remember her. She's like, okay, we'll call her because she sounds like her. So I pick up the phone and she goes, hello? And she goes, and I go, hi, auntie, it's Saige. And she starts freaking out. She's like, my baby. She just started bawling on the phone and I started bawling on the phone. And she said, I have been looking for you for years. She's like, I've missed you so much, my baby. She's like, and I started crying because when I started thinking about my late mom, she's like, it was just like a touching moment because we all lost someone very close to us and someone who meant a lot to us. And the fact that I was finally back in their lives and stuff meant a lot. And for me to be back in their lives meant a lot because then I felt closer to my mom. I feel like I can like talk to these people and ask memories about her and everything. And I still feel connected. Like, I know she did a lot of bad things, but I'm forever grateful for the life she's given me and stuff and for being here and stuff. So, but yeah. So she meant a lot to me, and so it was really nice coming back and meeting family members and everything, and they're all really happy that I'm back. Sometimes they'll randomly call me. It's weird. It's
no,
funny.
that's amazing. Though. It can be pretty extreme because you're catching up after so many years of not being connected, right? And it's gotta feel so cool to hear stories about your mom from like firsthand accounts of like her siblings. And,
it's really nice. Yeah, they're always like, "Oh, she's so beautiful." Yeah.
Amazing.
But being up in the north is really nice, but now I have to come down for my modeling and acting now. It's picking up and stuff.
It's picking up like crazy. So for some context, you and I met down in Rocky Mountain House through the Friendship Centers. I know you've been through the Friendship Center since you were very young. You were part of the Legacy Youth Program down there too, and you still have some family that's out that way as well. What kept you up in the Northwest Territories for so long?
It's definitely just wanting to be alone. Like, I was so tired of everything that was going on in my life. I was so tired of people trying to be in my life or talking too much about me, and I got sick of it.
There was a lot of chaos there.
Yeah, there was a lot of chaos, and I just wanted to be alone at that point. I didn't want to, like, I loved my friends, I loved my family and stuff, but I couldn't handle it anymore. I couldn't keep putting out my energy and stuff. It was too much. So that's what brought me up to the north, and plus circumstances as well of living. But what kept me up there was being like, okay, well, I can just focus on myself up here. I don't have to deal with like having to, go over to my family's house and like deal with other stuff there and stuff like that. I just have to focus on getting stable right now. And it's been such a good help because for the past few months, that's all I've been focusing on is stability. So vehicle, money, job, everything, and just saving up completely. So that's part of the reason why I stayed up there for so long.
It seems like you've been connecting to the culture out there quite a bit through work, through just general practices out there as well.
Yeah. It's really nice because like even with the fancy dancing, like up in the north, they don't do that.
Really? No, so you're bringing that up there.
Yeah,
that's
so
really cool.
Yeah, up in the north, they don't do powwows and that. They do hand games and drum dances and tea dances, but not powwows and that. So when I went up there, everyone is always surprised that I dance fancy and that. But even with my tour group, like I'll dance for them once in a while. Like for Truth and Reconciliation Day, I danced for them, and it was really fun. And then through my job and that, it's really cool because I do like hiking tours. So that's my favorite tour because I get to go out on the land and I get to teach these people the culture, our teachings and like medicines out on the land. So it's been really nice with that. But that's always like a passion of mine of wanting to teach these people about the culture and stuff. So it's really cool that I have this job and so many people choose our company just because we're Indigenous owned. They want to know that part of like Yellowknife and everything. So it's really cool. But yeah. With
the fancy dancing up where they're not used to, how was that transition? Did it feel pretty well accepted, or was there a little bit of pushback?
Well, people thought it was cool that like, I fancy dance and stuff, but it's not a normal thing up there. So they were like, oh, it's cool and stuff. But like when I moved up there and stuff, I did kind of feel off. Like I didn't belong because people didn't recognize me for one. No one knew who this person was.
Small town stuff.
Exactly. So like, but like I am Cree, Mohawk, and Dene. So being up there, I'm like, I am Dene people. It's just I'm not into the Dene culture as much as I want to be. Yeah. I mainly grew up Cree, so that's another thing why I love being up there is I'm learning about the Dene culture. Another side of me that I've been wanting to learn. The next side of me is Mohawks or an Iroquois. So I want to go to the Iroquois territory and go learn that part of me. But it's all little journeys.
Absolutely. It takes a while.
Yeah.
You've spent so much time in the Cree culture, right? So,
yeah. Oh my God. So much time. Yeah. So but it's really cool being up there. It does feel like you're out of place because people oh, who's this person type of thing. But then you meet the elders and they're all so welcoming and they love when you're around and stuff. Like, oh, well, it's good that you're back and stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah. I think it's something that we are continuously forgetting, especially on reserve. I don't want to call anyone out specifically, but the openness of our teachings and our culture is supposed to be at the very forefront. Yeah. Right. And as long as someone's not taking it and assimilating it without getting those teachings, then it's supposed to be open for everyone.
Exactly. Right. So yeah, that's the one thing that was really rough about being up there is it just didn't feel like anyone was like open-minded about things or anything like that. It was more like just, oh, who's this person type of thing. I'm gonna like just ignore them type of thing. But I tried my best to talk to people, get to know people, make connections up there in the north, especially with the elders in the community. But yeah, just slowly trying to make connections to that. But it's really hard when people aren't open-minded to you being there. Yeah. Yeah. Especially if you don't have the slang. If you don't talk native, they think you're more weird. So it's like,
it's always, oh, you're a city native.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Libraries have always been more than just shelves for books. They've been keepers of stories, of knowledge, and of community memory. That's why we are so excited to be able to partner with the Red Deer Public Library to help amplify and preserve our Indigenous voices through the Voices of Resilience podcast. Did you know that RDPL memberships are free to all of City of Red Deer residents? Because I didn't. Your library card connects you to thousands of books, movies, magazines, language tools, games, and so much more. Plus, 24/7 access to a digital library that you can access from anywhere. Swing by any of RDPL's 4 locations or visit rdpl.org to sign up, tap into all of their programs for all ages, and reconnect yourself with the immense power of storytelling. Culture lives where it's shared, and this is just the beginning. So we touched a little bit about your fancy dancing when you were really young. I know your fancy dancing does run in your family quite a bit too. Your younger sister still fancy dances?
Yeah, she still fancy dances. So with the fancy dancing, my little sister for the longest time would always copy me when I did fancy dance. So when I first
she's got the same regalia.
Yes, when I saw it, I was like, oh, that's so cute. But yeah, they do some fancy dancing. Sequoia, she also does some little fancy dancing as well, or wants to get into dancing. But yeah, it kind of runs in our family, but I stuck to it the most, to be honest, because I actually do like practice it almost every day when I am at home and stuff. Just so like when I do go to a powwow, I'm prepared and everything. Like I'm not the best, but it's something that I want to do and I want to get better at it. So
Okay, they're not the best. There's always someone that's gonna be better at us at the thing that we love to do. But you are an amazing fancy dancer. There's no other person I could think about to be on the show in that aspect when it comes to that, right?
Yeah.
And you know what? Speaking about that, we had you dancing on the top of a very rocky, very sharp
I remember
cliff
that. Yes.
in the intro. And we have a couple of shots in the intro. If anyone wants to go back and see what we forced Saige to do, she did all of it with a smile on her face. We had no idea where we were going. We went out to Abraham Lake. We're like, where are we going to do this? We found one semi-flat area on top of a bunch of rocks surrounded by tourists. So we had to wait when there was like a dead space. We had you dancing like 4 or 5 different times. What was that like? Because I know those rocks were hard to dance on. Right?
Even though it was really hard to dance on and it did hurt, I just kept thinking back to like, because so when a lot of times when I dance, I pray. So I'll pray for my family. I'll pray for missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls, residential schools, stuff like that, survivors. So when I was dancing up there, even though I was getting tired, I was like, oh my God, I need to stop for a second. I kept going just because like playing in my mind, like you're stronger than this. Like, you can keep going. You're in pain, but keep going through it because our whole culture, ancestors, everyone has been through pain. I can push through this type of thing. So I just pushed through it. But it was lots of fun. And then all of a sudden I just see like at the corner of my eyes, all these tourists coming up and they're just like watching me while I'm dancing on top of this rock.
And then a drone's just like going around as well. It was so cool. I had to scare one of the tourists away because he got too close. I'm like, what are you doing? There's clearly a camera here.
Exactly.
That's really beautiful. Like hearing you, like one of your practices is to call back to the ones that came before you, right? And that even holds through while you're dancing to it. It gives you that extra oomph even when you think you don't have it in you anymore. That gives you that extra gas, right? Are there any other practices that you do before you get into a powwow situation, or?
Well, for me, I do take moments to myself. Like I will sit down and I will breathe and like, because I get really nervous. Like when I go to these powwows, I get really nervous because I know people are gonna start watching my footwork, and there's gonna be some people out there judging how I dance, judging how fast I go, if I'm on beat or not, and so I get really nervous. But then I start thinking, I'm like, well, I'm not doing this for the competition of it. I'm not doing it for the money of it. I want to do it because it helps me in my journey. It helps me with praying.
You're finding ceremony in it.
Exactly. It's not just like, oh, I want money type of thing. It's like I want to dance because it heals a part of me. When I go to these powwows, it's mainly just talking to myself. I usually always have my headphones in. I don't talk to really anyone when I go to these things. But just talking to myself. And when I get onto the circle, I'll pray. Like I'll start praying for myself, and I'll kind of like block out all the noise around me. And while I'm dancing too, before I run out of breath so quickly. And so now every time I dance, I know how to gauge my breathing. So a lot of times, like when I'm doing the basic step while I'm doing that, I'm taking deep breaths, like huge breaths, just to keep me going. And that's what keeps me going most of the time. But I was told, because a while back I did get inflammation in my foot. And that's when I first started getting back into powwow dancing and going to powwows and stuff. And it was hard because I really wanted to dance at the Red Deer powwow, and that's when I got my foot inflamed, and I thought I wouldn't have been able to dance because every time I danced, it started hurting. And then I talked to an elder later, and she said that I would have to put sage in my moccasins now, from now on, to protect me while I'm dancing and stuff like that. Oh, okay, sounds interesting. So it's another thing I'm going to add to my thing, but I haven't been to a powwow in like so long, but I practice at home a lot of the time. So,
it does feel like it would make sense. Like this, a lot of that art form, a lot of your own energy is going straight to your feet.
Exactly.
Right? So,
yes. So that's how I feel. It's like, because I'm doing a lot of praying while I'm sitting there and doing that. So like, I dance really hard and everything. So when I got my foot inflamed, I was really upset about that. But luckily, it doesn't happen anymore. And I'm good now.
You do really get going. I've seen you for a couple different performances. The moment you get out there, it feels like everyone else is sort of following you. You have a way of taking the show over. So I just want to throw that out there. It's very cool to see you dance.
Yeah, thank you.
Just when we were connecting back to when we were shooting out in Abraham, like that actually kind of made me realize that we put you out in a situation that you may have not been very used to when it comes to fancy dancing, because you usually do that at powwows, like very flat. I've put you in a couple situations where you've had to dance in some really weird spots. I'm just realizing this now. Like, huh? Thank you for being so down with my crazy ideas.
I love it.
But like, it's how was the feeling of like getting away from you know the competition aspect of it, even the powwow aspect of it, and just dancing to yourself, dancing to your ancestors that you were calling up on in front of the mountains and nature and the lakes? And
it gave me a lot of energy for sure. I felt so much more like happier. Like, I'm a very person that like is always thinking every thought's in my mind and stuff. So that's why I'm very like, I overthink about what people think about me and stuff like that. Yeah, exactly. So, but when I'm out there and after I'm done dancing, I just realize that this is me. This is who I am. If people don't like who I am or anything, then they can not be a part of my life. I'm like, I feel connected to the land. I feel connected to Creator. I feel connected to all these things where it's like, I don't need to change myself, or like, just because I'm a little weird or whatever, I don't need to be normal for Creator. I don't even be normal to be out in nature.
What is normal anyways?
Right, exactly.
No, we're all a little weird, right? It's whether or not we decide to hold on to that weirdness or try to shove it down for other people.
Yeah, exactly. So when I dance, it does heal something inside me where it's like, okay, like, I am who I am and I feel a lot happier, and this is me. And that's how I just feel afterwards, is like, this is me. Pretty much. Yeah.
I've never seen you more in your element, and I know this was earlier on when we first like really started chatting and like hanging out, was during the shoot, but it was during that. Like when I see you on in those photos, when I look back in those videos, that's the most Saige in her element that I've ever seen you in.
I love those pictures. That was like my favorite like shoot to do. Like I said, I always show everyone the pictures from it and everything. I'm like, this is like my favorite. And like, are you standing in water? I'm like, yeah, I am. No, they're like surprised. Like my skirt got soaked after that.
Oh, dude, my pants got soaked after that. I was in there with you.
It was so funny. I was just like, they're like, are you in water? I was like, yeah, I am. And I was like, oh my god. But it was cool because like I love the water and everything. Especially like that's why when I was dancing there, it was nice because I feel connected in that way of like with the water and like the water spirits and everything, just because like when you're a baby, you're in the womb and you're surrounded by water and stuff. So that's how it feels for me when I'm out there in that. But yeah, it was lots of fun, but the rocks hurt so much.
Yeah, after I think it was like the after the third take, and I remember shouting out to you, "Are you good for one more?" And then there was like a couple second hesitation, and I just heard like a nervous, "Yeah, I think."
Yeah, I think. Yeah. I was like,
And
oh
then when we
God.
got back up there, I started looking at the ground. I'm like, "Oh, these are definitely knives on
Yeah.
moccasins." Oops.
But it was fun. I loved it. Pushed through it. My feet didn't hurt as much afterwards. It was just as soon as I stepped down, it would hurt. But other than that, I was like completely fine. It was fun.
Now, the other situation that I put you into when it came to weird locations for fancy dancing was like right beside the riverbed out at the historic site in Rocky
Oh
Mountain House.
yeah.
So
Mhm.
if you had to compare the two, which one was the worst to
Oh
dance
God.
on?
I think the first one.
The first one was the
dancing on
worst?
rocks. Yeah. I
Okay.
think like +2. Like I could hear the music, but very like distant type of thing. So it
Yeah,
wasn't
because
like
we didn't have a speaker or
yeah, I don't think
anything. No,
so.
I think we just used someone's phone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it was very distant, but like I still try to keep to it and stuff. Was probably like the longest I've danced in like so long, so it was like killed me. But dancing at the riverbank, that I loved that. That was fun.
That
when
was
I
a
did
lot of
that
fun. I
one,
think we
yeah.
took a lot of the like the traditional setting out of the way, and it was just a
Yeah.
bunch of people hanging out
Yeah, right.
in the most
Exactly.
indigenous way possible.
Yeah, exactly. It was
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
And like when I danced there, it was cool because like everyone that worked there and stuff, like they used to be my old friends, or like
Mhm.
I used to go to school with them and stuff. So like, oh, this is cool. They're watching me dance. Like it's weird, but yeah, it was cool. I loved dancing for them. Mhm.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'd like to bring in our medicine wheel teaching here for the next conversation, specifically our internal medicine wheel.
Mhm.
So I don't know if you've looked into
Mhm.
that aspect of it, like the internal structures you need to
Yeah.
focus on.
Yeah.
And so if we split up our medicine wheel, and we've talked about this on the show before, that you get um, your uh, your physical health, your emotional
Mhm.
health, your intellectual health, and then your spiritual health.
Mhm.
I think flipping that one over, I think the spiritual health is, for me, has always been my North Star,
Mhm.
because that's like why you do what you do, right? It's what
Yeah.
you believe in, it's what pushes you
Yeah.
forward, that sort of thing.
Mhm.
So when we're thinking about those internal structures,
Mhm.
how does that play into your fancy dancing?
Mhm.
What do you get out of your fancy dancing when it comes to your emotional
Mhm.
health, your physical health? Obviously,
Mhm.
it takes a lot out of you physically.
Yeah, so I like to think of it in a science way as well, because like you hear about like when people are like addicted to things and they're trying to get over it, they tell them to exercise lots because it releases a chemical in their brain that makes them like more happy because they're moving around and stuff.
Mhm.
So when I'm dancing and stuff, it's the same thing. But not only that, it's like I don't know, like for me, a lot of time when I'm dancing and I feel my feet on the ground, um, I think about my ancestors and the people that were there before me, walking on that land, and how strong they were through everything that they went through, emotionally, mentally, and physically, spiritually, all that. Um, and how, like, when I'm praying, I pray for them. So it's like I'm doing it for them. It's like they're not here now, or they went through so much struggle where it's like they can't dance anymore and stuff. So it's like I'm dancing for them. For my spirituality, it's like I said, feeling connected to something. When I dance, I feel more connected to something. It's not like I'm dancing alone. Even though people see that I'm dancing alone, that's not, I don't feel that. I feel like I'm dancing with someone or for someone and stuff. So it heals that part of my brain where it's like I feel lost. I feel like I don't know what I'm doing. And it makes me I don't know how to describe it. Feel whole again when I dance a lot of the time. So music is a big part of my life, and that's what means a lot to me is to dance. So,
The internal rhythm, yeah.
yeah. So yeah, even the beat of the drum as well. So when you hear the Mother Earth's drum, like the heartbeat and stuff, that's what I think about too. Because like my late mom, she passed away when I was so young and stuff. So to hear that, a lot of the time, I always think about how when you're in the womb you could hear your mother's heartbeat. So when I'm dancing, it means a lot when I start feeling the drum beat in the
Mhm.
ground. I love that feeling when you're at a powwow and you're just standing there, like the drum's like how far away, but you still feel the
You
beats on
feel
the
it.
ground. It's so cool. I
It's the
love it.
electricity that's just radiating out that you're
Yeah,
just picking up on, right? Because that
exactly.
that is simply just mirroring what the drum beat that's
Yeah,
inside of all of us, right?
exactly. So yeah, that's kind of how I stay connected in that way of being like, well, my ancestors were here once, and um, I want to be as strong as them, and I want to be strong for them. So yeah,
That's
yeah.
beautiful.
Mhm,
On the scientific standpoint, you mentioned about, redirecting a sense of addiction.
mhm.
We are all addicted to something
Yeah.
in this day and age, whether it is, you know, synthetic, or if it's even your phone or eating,
Mhm.
or something like that.
Yeah.
um I think you can find those redirections, because essentially what you're really doing, you're
Mhm.
redirecting that addiction into something that serves you rather than takes
Yeah.
something away from you, right?
Yeah.
You can definitely still find that. If anything, it's so important to find that within the cultures that you find
Mhm.
yourself in, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of the time when I do feel like I don't belong anywhere, I'll go home and I'll dance. Like I'll put on music and stuff. But yeah, it just makes me happy. After that, like
Yeah.
after just dancing, I just have so much energy. I'm like, oh, I can go again. I can keep going and stuff. But it feels really nice. Yeah.
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 It's funny how we kind of try to stray away from the things that we know are good for us and make us really
Yeah.
happy, and then all of a
Exactly.
sudden we come back to it and we're like, oh yeah, that's right.
Exactly.
Oh, that's
Yes.
why I did that in the first place.
Yeah.
I should do
Right.
more of that.
Yeah. Exactly. That's how I felt like, because I lost when I moved back up north. Like it was a big struggle. I first moved to the north. The first few months, I lost my ways. Like I realized I wasn't being more grateful for the things in my life. I wasn't dancing every day like I used to. I wasn't smudging. I wasn't being close to the culture like I wanted to, and I didn't know why. Um, and I think it was just a me thing at the time, where it was like I need to take a moment for myself to reconnect. Plus, two, the people that are around me were kind of not the best as well. They kind of dragged me down, and
There was a lot of chaos in your
yeah,
life, right?
it
And when you're
was.
lost in that chaos, you kind of forget that there's another
Yeah,
avenue. There's peace.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So once I moved to Yellowknife and everything, I started getting back into the dancing. So that's when I started dancing at home, and I made this ribbon skirt in like one night, and it was like Indigenous Day, and I wanted to wear that skirt on the we're on the podcast. It's like I want to wear that skirt, but I couldn't go back to Fort Smith and
You
everything.
know
So
what? It's that story in itself feels like
mhm.
a full circle moment. Like
Yeah,
that
exactly.
was an old part of you.
Hmm.
Even though you'd love for that to be
Yeah.
in this new chapter of your life, it's
Hmm.
time to make something of your own to
Exactly.
move forward,
Yeah,
right?
because with that skirt, I made it with my mentor and
Yeah.
the Friendship Center. So when I made this one, I made it by myself in one night, and I bought all the material for it for myself. And
How
then,
reaffirming does that feel?
oh, I felt so
You
good.
did that on
Yeah,
your own, and
exactly.
from my perspective, it
Mhm.
shows that you're able to pass that flame of knowledge on to the next generation,
Yeah.
right? You've gotten
So
to that point when it comes to this.
yeah, and it was
So
really cool. So when I finished it, everyone's always like, "Oh, I love your skirt." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I made it." And they're always, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "What's the funny thing? I didn't have a band for their waist, so I used ribbon. So it's
oh,
just
nice.
ribbons, yeah." I'm like, "It works though." And then,
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, living in the north, you don't get to dance much very often though. So
Yeah.
yeah. Hmm.
But I do want to touch on the fact that, and this is something that I do end up talking about a lot with my programs,
Hmm.
of you can't heal in a place where trauma has
Hmm.
been created. You can't
Exactly.
heal when you're still in that chaos, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of the times you do, when you're that into that extreme, you do need that physical distance,
Exactly.
the other side of the spectrum, the other
Hmm.
extreme,
Yeah.
to get back to balance, right?
Exactly.
If you're in a tipping canoe,
Hmm.
you can't just straighten up and expect it to go
Yeah.
back. You're still going to tip over, right? You got
Hmm.
to go to the other end of it. So the
Exactly.
other end of chaos is peace. But
Yeah.
if you're not used to that, then that peace gets loud. The
Exactly.
silence gets overbearing,
Hmm.
because everything's flooding back,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah.
Everything that you've repressed is flooding back, that you
Hmm.
now have to deal with. But
Yeah.
once you keep pushing forward in that, and that physical distance will help,
Hmm.
that silence turns back into peace,
Yeah.
right? It
Exactly.
gets less loud.
Yeah. So being up there was really rough when I first moved there and stuff. Like I said, I lost my ways there for a bit. But then once I started realizing what people I wanted in my life, and I started taking some people out of the equation and stuff, I started feeling like myself again.
Hmm.
even coming down here, like, even though at times I do feel so off or like I don't belong in the group of people that I meet, uh, I still find myself being connected to something more. But so when I'm in like a group of people and like I don't feel welcomed or anything, I'll just go silent and I'll stare off into like, I don't know, the trees or like the ground or whatever. But that's not in a way of being like, oh, I hate these people. It's more of in a way of like, okay, well, these aren't my people. They don't have the kind of same energy as I do. So I'm just gonna be quiet and I'm just sit here and just enjoy what's around me in this moment.
And there's got to be a little bit of contentment with like, it's okay that I'm not being
Yeah,
accepted in this because I know who I am.
exactly. And
And
that's
at the
how
end
I
of the day,
feel.
I don't think I'd want to be accepted by
Hmm.
people who don't accept me for who I am anyways. So
Exactly. And
I
this
got
is,
people in my life and I like my own company. So
yeah. So that's how
yeah.
it's gone. That's why it's nice to move up north. Even though it was so hard, I got to learn how to be alone. I got to learn to love being alone.
It's so important.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's now to a point where I protect my peace a lot, where it's like I don't even have much friends. I'm very careful of who I meet now and stuff, who I talk to, who I want in my life, and I'm basing off the energy of myself and be like, their energy was kind of off. And I'm like, I don't really like that person. I'll just distance myself from them. Um, but being in the north, I realize I've gone really content with myself, being like, okay, well, I understand I can be weird, and some days I'll be like, oh, I don't like myself, which is normal. But as long as I can go back to the idea of this is me, this is who I am, and if people don't accept me for who I am, then they don't deserve to be a part of my life. It's just plain as that. So
And you're going through
yeah,
that lesson at such a young age, might I add.
yeah,
I'm turning 30 right now, and I'm just coming around to the fact that like, if you're getting rid of my peace and I don't want you in my life, then that's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
It's you kind of get into like a F it energy
Yeah,
of like, these are things I can't control, so I'm not gonna
exactly.
waste time on it.
Yeah,
You
and that's
know?
how I felt where it's like all these things were happening in my life where I was like, I'm like, oh, I wish this would change. Or with this, for example, my vehicle hitting in a ditch.
Uncontrollable, man.
But
It sucks, but
yeah, but that's the thing. When we hit the ditch, I was happy. I don't know why. I wasn't right away sad. Like at first I was like, what the hell? And I was just freaking out. I was like, is everyone okay? Like type of thing. Um, but
yeah, because
after,
you're more worried about other people's safety at that point,
yeah,
not the ramification of like, oh, this material thing in my life may or
yeah.
not be salvageable,
Yeah, and then for
right?
some reason, like the whole time we're sitting in the ditch and someone went out to Hay River to get like a tow truck, I was just cracking jokes. I was laughing away, trying to dig my vehicle out for these people. And I was sitting there thinking, I was like, why? Why don't I feel like devastated or anything? Maybe it's just in a moment where like I'm just trying to push it, suppress it type of thing.
Comedy is the best
Yeah.
medicine in a lot of situations, though, you know?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
But when I sat in that vehicle, that tow truck, I was by myself and he was trying to get my vehicle out and the silence overcame.
Yeah.
And I was looking around outside the door. I was looking in front of me, all the snow, and I could see the sun. It was just setting. So it was very beautiful. And sorry, I'm going to get emotional because I never thought back to this moment. A sense of peace went over me. And then even though I could hear them in the back talking to each other and stuff, all I heard was the silence. And I was like, I know I'm not sad about the vehicle. I know I'm not sad about being here. There's a reason why I'm here. So I just got back from Yellowknife at that time. And when I got back from Yellowknife, no, I was just at Yellowknife, and that's when we were going to Fort Smith, and that's when it crashed. And then for some reason, we got led to Yellowknife either way. And which was weird for me because I was like, well, I have a good job in Fort Smith. And everything. And I have no one in Yellowknife really. But I ended up living with some family members and stuff. When I was living there, that's when I slowly started to find myself. Slowly started to take more time to myself. Being distant with people and everything because I was so tired of being hurt. And so being there, I got more connected to the land because I felt like a little girl again, because living there, I grew up there a little bit. And so being on that same road where I grew up and stuff, and in the same house where I kind of grew up, looking at the same rock that I climbed up every day, and I would look out into like the lake and everything. Like it felt nice. It was like a little kid in me again. Like I just found her for some reason at this place, and
You got to walk alongside the younger version of
yeah,
yourself for the first time in a real long
yeah,
time.
it felt really good.
And the car crash, that must have felt like the first catalyst towards that journey of peace,
Yeah,
hey?
that's what it felt like.
Yeah.
Where I was sitting there, I was like, I'm not mad. I'm not sad that I hit the ditch or anything. I know something's gonna come out of it, and I know I'm gonna get out of this. It's not forever. But I felt so at peace, and then I went to Hay River. We were in Hay River, and that's where I thought it was all gonna stop. I thought I was never gonna be an actress. I was never gonna get into modeling ever again because I was literally homeless. I was staying in a hotel for like 3 days, um, taking care of 2 people that I shouldn't have been taking care of.
Mm.
And I sat there and I was sitting outside, and I got into some bad habits. So like one of them was smoking. Not a good thing, but I was so stressed at the time. So thank you. I was so stressed at the time. I was sitting outside, and I thought that was it. I thought, this is where my life ends. I didn't think I was gonna live. Minus 40 below in Hay River. I had a dog, whatever was on my back. I just thought to myself, I'm like, I'm gonna be on the street. And I'll have no one. But I was sitting there, it was like, I can't do this to myself. And I never post online. I never post what I'm going through. And all of a sudden I was like, I got to. So I posted, I really need help. And I'm like, I am on the street. I don't know what to do. And after I posted that, all of my wandering spirit side family members started messaging me and being like, what the oh, sorry. What's going on? What's happening? Like, I thought you were staying in Fort Smith. And I was like, I got kicked out. And I have no one helping me on my other side of the family. And so I had a few of my dad, like I had one of my dad's friends, she came and helped me pick up everything for my vehicle, and I ended up staying at my cousin's for 3 days and stuff. And then from there I moved to Yellowknife because I finally found a place. And then from there I just started growing. But it was definitely such a hard time in my life because I didn't think I was gonna be alive at that point, because that's where I was calling it quits. So yeah, it was a really rough time, but I got over it, and I always think back to those moments. I'm like, I am grateful for where I am now, because when I was there, I kept telling myself, will this matter within a year? Will this matter within 5 months? You don't know where you'll be in 5 months. So I kept telling myself every time something like this happened, and now I'm here. And now I'm doing things that I love to do. Exactly. Like, this is awesome. Like, I don't feel lost anymore. Like, I know what I want now. I'm content in who I am and stuff like that. Now I'm just going with whatever opportunities are headed my way and everything. So it's really nice that I found that peace in my life again. So yeah, it was really rough, but yeah, I got over it.
Wow. Well, first off, thank you for sharing that story. I know it's still fresh, and the wounds are still there, but they got you through.
Yeah.
I'm very grateful for your vulnerability. I keep seeing a full circle moment between what the connection that you make with your fancy dancing, calling your ancestors, the ones that came before you, to help you with that strength to move forward when you don't feel like you have it anymore, and what happened to get you up in Yellowknife and to make you realize that you do want to choose life.
Exactly.
And the world has a funny way, the universe and ancestors, creator has a funny way of giving you exactly what you're wanting in the weirdest way possible. Right?
And that's what I realized was my whole life as a kid leading up to that moment, I kept telling my dad, I want to go back up north. I want to go back up north. I want to be out in the land again. He kept telling me, no, let your brother go. Okay, whatever. And then even though it was such a crappy time that I had to go through all that, it was nice at the same time because I did get where I wanted to go. And I got closer to my mom in Fort Providence, which is crazy. I got closer to my gukum. And that's what I needed for so long. And that's all I ever wanted for so long. So the fact that even though all this stuff happened, it happened for a reason. And that's why I always stick to that saying, everything happens for a reason. If you're going through the hardest time in your life, something at the end of it is going to matter. So yeah
absolutely
yeah
all of that pain, you know, all of those situations where you wish, you know, you didn't have to go through, they're there for a reason. It's when we're talking about the human experience, it's not all happy and sunshine and rainbow and sunflowers, right? That's what our seasons are trying to teach us. There's constant change that needs to be had, and in order to experience everything, you got to experience the pain.
Exactly,
right?
So yeah, it was a rough time in my life, but I'm glad that I got over it, and I've gotten like a lot of support. I've been yelling with my work and some friends and stuff like that, and now making connections. So it's really nice. It's really nice to bounce back finally and feel myself again.
I know we stated it earlier, but it's been a while since we've last talked to each other. So it's, oh my God, it's almost been like 2 years, something like that.
That's crazy.
Like season 1 already happened.
This is crazy.
I think that was the last, like when we did that shoot, that was the last like official time that we really like hung out. There were a couple times before that, before you moved, but that was like really it.
Yeah, exactly.
I see a huge change in just the way that you hold yourself and the way that you speak. And I know you're not very used to talking about yourself. You're doing amazing with it.
Thank you.
I can tell that you've come out on the other side a lot more understanding of who you are, and it came from reconnecting yourself to the land, to culture, to you know, lost family members.
Yeah, definitely that too.
Your previous story touched on where you are now, specifically with your modeling and your acting career. I know just recently we tried to get you on the show a little bit before when you came down, about what was it, a month ago?
Yeah, like a month ago,
But your schedule, with the premieres that were going on and everything, because there's a short film now that just is running through the festivals right now, that you're a part of. It's about 12 minutes long, but there is word that it's going to be turned into a feature film, which is exciting.
I'm so excited for that. So for that one, it was such a weird feeling. Like, it was like the Calgary International Film Festival, and that was held at the Chinook Mall. When I went there, it was such like a unreal feeling because like my family did show up. And I did have some people on the set that were there and stuff, but it was something I've never experienced before, but it was so fun. Like everyone there was so nice to me, and watching the film was like crazy to see it actually my face on the screen acting. I was like, that's weird. I was like so nervous when I first came. I'm like, I'm gonna be so cringy. I'm gonna be so terrible at
Everyone's
acting.
perceiving me.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone's perceiving me on a wide screen.
And I'm like, oh my God, it's so nerve-wracking. But then my film came up and actually came out really like great. Like for just how short it is, it was amazing. Like the aspect of it and like the jokes that were thrown in, half of it was like improvised.
Hey, there you go. Yeah, that means there's really good chemistry on set,
exactly.
Right?
So it was hilarious. But definitely because we only worked with one camera that whole film, one camera the whole film, so we had to do different shots. So it was like a whole weekend thing. So the one scene, I had to jump on someone's back, and he had to throw me around and throw me to the ground. With that scene, I had my arms covered in bruise by the end of it because we had to keep redoing it
How many takes until you guys were like,
God,
I either can't do it anymore or we got the take?
I don't even know. It was like more than 6 times. Like
Choreography stuff is hard.
Yeah, it was hard, and like I hit my head, and like it was rough, but it was so much fun. By the end of it, we were all sad that we were all leaving each other and that it was done with.
You build such bonds when it comes to that type of work, right?
Exactly, and it's funny because like me being Indigenous, so like growing up the way I did, I'm not like used to like the famous stuff. So working on that set, it was funny because they'd be like, okay, we're gonna move areas, and I'd be sitting in my chair, but okay, I get up and go grab my chair, but then people on set would go, no, we'll do it. I'm like, no, it's really okay. It's only like 5 feet away, and they're like, it's our job, just let us do it. I'm like,
it's so. Okay. I had the same experience on my first job too. And like not for the first time, like not being behind the camera and being a part of the actual cast. Like they don't let you do anything.
No,
until it's your time to act.
It was so weird. I'm like, I feel really like snobby right now. Just get my chair from me. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I don't like this, but it was definitely really like a really cool experience. It's funny though.
So the whole plot is based around an Indigenous perspective. A lot of it is based out on reservation, where the storyline actually takes place on a reservation, right? So with your role being as Ari, were there any personal accounts that you've went through in your own life that helped you like get ready for that sort of role? Yeah,
actually, because Ari is more of someone like she's tough, but she's really loyal to her friends. She's really loyal to her family and stuff. Very quiet, but very headstrong. So playing that role, it was very comfortable to me. So when I first did the audition, actually, I auditioned for Jazz, the main role. But then they liked me so much that they asked, well, can you play Ari as well? Like, can you do an audition for Ari? I was like, oh, okay.
As well. Can you play both?
Can you play both? No. They were like, well, can you do both auditions? Oh, I was like, okay, yeah, I can do both auditions, no problem. So I did both auditions for Ari and Jazz. And then we went on screen and they're like, okay, well, we're gonna team you up with some people and see who you're compatible with, kind of thing, like with energy wise. They asked me like, well, Saige, like, would you rather play Jazz or Ari? And I was sitting there thinking, I was like, I'd rather play Ari only because like of how she is, like with her friends, and she's very headstrong, very loyal, but very kind and stuff. So when the screen came up, the first girl came on, I did the lines with her. I was like, okay. And then, okay, we're gonna bring the other person in. Okay. And all of a sudden Nim pops up on the screen, and I've been following Nim for like years before I even met them. I was like, oh my, I like internally started
starstruck.
I was like freaking out. I was like, oh, I can't let her see it. I can't let them see that. So I was like, just stay calm. Be cool. And then we did the lines and they loved us. So we ended up they played Jazz and then I ended up playing Ari. And so being on that set was so cool. And they're like, I was actually really nervous to meet Nim because I was like, I don't know what to expect. But when they came up to set, they were like the nicest person I've ever met in my life, and like everyone on set was so caring and so like nice and took care of you. It was an awesome feeling. But yeah.
How long was the filming for the set? When did you guys start? When did you finish?
We started on like the Friday. It was in August. I can't remember the exact dates, but we did a whole weekend thing. So it was like I think it was like either Friday to Monday. I think it was like a 4-day shoot.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I think. Okay. Because the first day was actually rehearsals. So the first day we just did rehearsals on the one scene where I was like getting tossed off the person's back and stuff. But the rest of the days we did filming, and it was different areas. We filmed in like Black Diamond, where else? Brad Creek, I think it was. We filmed there as well. So we're just moving around from place to place, and it was really cool. And the one, actually, it was really funny because the one house, the beginning of the film that we see, both different locations, like in the film, like, oh, we're at this house, but then we're at Gookum's house. They're the same house. Just different areas in the house.
Movie magic.
Right, exactly. I was like, that is so cool to see it on screen, to see what they did and stuff. It was awesome. But yeah, definitely quite a cool experience. Yeah.
So through the entire experience of filming, was there a notable moment that that felt more of a highlight that you'll look back on, whether it comes to like a certain part of the movie that you were acting in, and then but like vice versa too? Was there a part that felt a little more of a struggle to get through?
I think here. I think the one part that I did kind of struggle with, but like everyone struggled on the set, was someone came late to set. So it
Oh,
kind of messed up one of the scenes and how it was supposed to go. And then halfway through, while we're already going to get done the scene, they showed up. So we're like, okay, well, we got to get this person in here. And then that person didn't even know their lines. So we're sitting there for how long? Luckily, we got through it. They were amazing, though. They were very sweet. Um, but yeah, that was the one part that we struggled with a little bit. But I loved the one part I loved about being on that set was just getting to know everyone. It
mhm.
wasn't like I loved the acting and stuff. I loved when the screen would come on, like the camera and everything. But I loved getting to meet everyone, especially like the hair lady, the makeup lady, my co-star and stuff. Like it was fun, and I got to drive like an old car. It
That
was a
car in that
nice.
film.
It was so nice. Yeah.
It's not able to be watched yet online, but even the
They
promos for it, the box art for it,
Yeah.
that car is stunning.
Right? Oh my god, I can't believe they let me drive it. It was crazy. And I was like, "Really?" And they're like, "Yeah, just a little bit, as long as you're like, you know what you're doing, you're not crazy with it." Okay, sounds good. Yeah. But yeah, it was definitely a cool experience. I don't think I've like struggled too much on the film. It was just meeting everyone,
Mhm.
and people actually already recognized me because my dad's an actor, so
Mm.
they already did work with him. So when I mentioned like, "Oh, my dad is this person. He's acting on this," they're like, "That's your dad?" They're like, "Oh my god!" And they freaked out, and they were so happy that I was on set. And ever since then, we've been very close. So it's nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know
Yeah.
that about your dad actually.
Yeah. Really.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, he's been on quite a few films. That's why he got into the acting. But
Yeah.
yeah, I was sitting there, and the hair ladies and the makeup ladies behind me were talking about films that they're on. And one of them mentioned Revenant. And I was looking at them like, "You guys were working on Revenant?" She's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Do you know my dad?" And I said, "David Burke." And they're like, "Oh my god." They're like, "Yeah." They're like, "That's your dad?" And I was like, "Yeah." And like, "Oh my god, like no wonder we recognized you."
Small
Like,
world, eh?
"Yeah." They're like,
Yeah.
"As soon as you came out of that vehicle, you looked so familiar." And like, "You look exactly like your dad." I'm like, "Thanks. Good to know I look like a man, but
Thank you for the compliment.
yeah."
So through the more dramatic parts of the film, did you find yourself having to pull from some of the harder heartstrings in your own personal life to fill that role, to bring those emotions out, that sort of thing?
um, I guess the one scene where we kind of talk about how we hate that on reserves typically like there's always hatred towards each other and stuff
Mm,
like
the
families
competition,
and
yeah.
competition, addictions and things like that. So in that moment, like you kind of have to express like that, like I hate it too type of thing. So when that came up, I just started thinking about it, and then I was like, it is true though. So all my emotions came kind of up with that. I'm like, yeah, it is like it does suck that family is like this and everything, but there was not really a so part of emotional part. I think the emotional part for me was after the film. Uh,
Mm.
it was like it was like a step in my life that I've never experienced before, and I was like, I'm getting somewhere, and it felt weird, and I didn't think I was gonna get that far. Um, so for me, it was like more of like happy tears or like just being happy, being like, I finally did something I've been
Holy
wanting to
crap,
do
it
for
happened.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like for I've did auditions for years and I didn't think I was gonna get anything. And I this audition, I was so iffy on doing it. So I was like, I'm not gonna get it. And I'm like, I keep doing these auditions, I keep doing good, but I'm not getting any of them. And finally I was convinced, just do it. Like you never know, just do it. And I was like, okay. And so I did it, and then that's when I got the role, and that's what made me feel more emotional. It's like, oh my god, all this hard work, all this time. Good thing I did not like give up type of thing. So
Mhm.
yeah.
I've always noticed there's a funny little pattern that
Mhm.
life likes to play on you. You get
Yeah.
right to the point of getting ready to give up on something. You let
Mm.
all that frustration out, and then you finally say, "You know what? Screw it. I'm gonna
Yeah.
try one more time." And that's
Exactly.
the thing that actually ends up working out, you
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
Yeah.
That's how it was. I was like, hey, well, it worked out, I guess. So it was really cool though. I loved it.
Yeah, so you've auditioned for quite a while
Mhm.
in some different roles. You also have a career in modeling, and
Yeah.
your father also had a career in acting. How did
Yeah.
you pick all of this stuff up at the very beginning? Like,
Um
how did you transition from like fancy dancing
yeah.
to modeling and then later on to acting?
Yeah. So from fancy dancing, my dad started getting into acting, and then he had like an agent and stuff. And because like I'm a daddy's girl, I love my dad, so I'm like I want to be just like him. So when he started getting auditions and started like talking about being on movies and stuff, I was like, well, I want to do that. I don't know why it just interested me. I'm like, I want to be on the screen type of thing. Like,
How cool was it to see like your dad
oh
on
my
giant
god,
films like The Revenant and
it
stuff like
was
that, right?
amazing. As a kid, I was like, even if it's just like for a snippet, I was like, that's my dad right there. I'm like, he acted on there. He got to be on there. It was so cool. The hardest part about it though is because these films sometimes need you in certain areas, so you have to leave for weeks at a time or
It's a
months at
lot
a
of
time.
travel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then that means leaving your family behind. So when my dad did that for a bit, it was rough. But I got into it because of him. He got me auditions with one of his agent, and then his agent took me in because I did one audition for a different show, and he loved me so much when I did it, and he was like, "Oh, she's really good." He never takes a newbie. He's never takes anyone that's never been on set before, never been on once, and he still took me in, and I was like, "Okay." So then ever since then, I started doing auditions, and then my whole life, people kept telling me, "You should be a model. You should be a model." I was like, "Okay, well, maybe one day." And I remember sitting there getting my hair done, and this girl, she was talking to me. She's like, "You should be a model." She's like, "You should go like, Calgary." And I was like, "Maybe." A year goes by, I'm signing a contract with them and everything. And I was so weird. One against like over 500 people at the Chinook Mall for international with another girl named Tibitha, first place. It was really cool. So I just got into that. Like it was just like kind of an opportunity that was like thrown in my path, and I was like, okay, I'll take it. I'll go try it out, see what happens. I didn't think I was gonna win, and then they're like, "Oh, we want you," and I was like, "This is so weird." I didn't think I was gonna win this.
This is supposed to be a joke.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Like I'm just wearing my Converse. I'm wearing the skinny jeans and a crop top, and these other girls are wearing high heels and actually look like they would be models. And yeah, I was chosen as like the first one. I was like, oh my god, that's crazy. So it was an unreal feeling. But ever since then, I've been doing modeling here and there.
Hmm.
But yeah.
So you've shared your background
Mhm.
on camera. You are Cree, Dene, and
Mohawk.
Mohawk.
Yeah.
So coming from those perspectives
Mhm.
and trying to be in the space of modeling
Mhm.
and acting, how are you navigating that? Are there any sort
Ooh.
of struggles that pop up?
Yeah, especially in the modeling industry. So a lot of the models have their family members that help them or pay for everything, like their flight, everything. Me, I'm a self-made model, so kind of in a way where it's like I have to pay for all my stuff. I have to pay my travel, my accommodation, everything. And these girls have already been on big, like, things and stuff. So when I go to these things, some of them are very mean, and very snarky towards you. But then that's when you start to learn in the modeling industry. If you go to these things, you just keep to yourself. You don't really talk with anyone else. You don't tell anyone like what kind of stuff you've been on unless it's like an agent or whatever trying to ask and stuff. Um, but being Indigenous and going to these things, it's weird because I'm the only Indigenous girl going to these things. And I feel out of place because a lot of these girls are good friends with each other already. And so
Hmm.
when I walk in, I kind of get like stares, and I'm like, oh, maybe it's not what I'm thinking. But at the same time, too, there's been a few girls that have been really nasty towards me while modeling and that. But then that's when you're like, oh, it's whatever. I'm like, you think what you think. I'm gonna keep going, and like I'm doing my modeling. I'm like, you're a very beautiful girl. Whatever. And I walk away.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's definitely a hard one when you're like someone who has to pay for everything because it gets expensive and it
Hmm.
all adds up. But sooner or later, like I just met up with my modeling company and they said, just keep going with it. And they said that within like 4 years from now, if you still want to be in it and stuff, we'll still be here and we still take you in and stuff. Um, they said that just to keep going with it, even though you have to pay for these things, even though things keep happening in your life and stuff, we see something big for you, and that's why we want you back and stuff because you have that energy to be something big, to be something more or famous or something. And like that's why we want you to keep going. Like we have a girl that's already doing Vogue and she's 17. And I was like, that's crazy. And they're like, yeah, and that's what we want for you. So just stay in touch with us, keep going with it. Even if things are going wrong with your life, just let us know and we'll still support you on it. So that's the one thing about my people I'm with. They're very supportive and very nice. So
In
yeah.
such competitive industries,
Yeah,
it's so important to have a support
hmm
system behind you.
exactly.
If it's not family, then it's got to be friends. If it's not
hmm
friends, it's got to be the people that are handling you
Yeah,
professionally, right? Especially
exactly.
those people.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Like I kind of went AWOL for a bit. My bad, but it's like that was when I was like, I need to be alone. I need to figure out my stuff. I need to get stable before I get into the stuff. Um, but yeah, there was like, just don't go AWOL on us, or just talk to us and let us know what's going on in your life. We'll totally understand if you need a month or like a few months or a year to, get stable or anything. Just let us know, and we'll still be here. I'm like, okay, I like that, knowing that I can have that stress off my shoulder of like high expectations type of thing. So
Mhm.
yeah.
I think we've all noticed the heightened showcase of Indigenous perspectives
Mhm.
in the film industry,
Yeah.
in the modeling
Mhm.
industry. There's a whole industry of fashion that's dedicated just towards Indigenous people
Yeah,
now, and
exactly.
I've heard mixed
Mhm.
representations of even that too,
Mhm.
of the competition bleeding into avenues where it shouldn't be,
Yeah.
especially coming from Indigenous perspectives. Would you
Yeah.
like to touch on the heightened representation, maybe sometimes over representation?
Yeah. So I do see that where it's like we're kind of getting like used in a way where it's like, oh, you're native. We need a native because for our promotion and things. And
Yeah.
I get that like to an extent of being like, okay, well, like you shouldn't be just using me and stuff. But at the same time, too, with these people that do come to you and they do want you, as long as they're more of like, hey, like they're out there with it, being like, well, we chose you because you're native. I like someone who's more honest with it and
Hmm.
being like, but that's not the only thing, and they're actually educated on Indigenous culture and stuff like that. Is the difference
Yeah.
compared to someone be like, oh, I want you because you have a native face, like just join us because of our promotion. But compared to someone be like, oh, well, I want you because you're Indigenous, and we'd like to show more representation towards Indigenous people, especially their look, and get them out there type of thing. Um, so it's like if you're gonna get into the modeling or acting industry, you kind of got to expect it. You kind of got to like let yourself go out there, and even if you kind of just have to roll with the punches and let these people use you for a bit to get where you need to go, then you got to go with it.
Yeah. I
So
guess it's important just to like
mhm,
know what you're getting into, that sort
exactly,
of thing, right?
yeah, just keeping your guard up, but also understanding what they want from you and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So yeah, definitely if you get into that kind of stuff, especially for Indigenous people, you kind of have to expect like
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, it's in any avenue, especially when it comes to media, right?
Yeah,
Like, I'm
exactly.
also fully under the understanding that a lot of
Mhm.
the opportunities that I've gotten in the last year have been mostly based on, what kind of blood is running through my veins
Yeah,
right now, right? And
exactly.
how native I
Mhm.
actually look. Um, that being said,
Mhm.
there's I think the conversation of appreciation versus
Mhm.
appropriation is
Yeah.
still always going to be there,
Yeah,
and it's
exactly.
important to know, the companies that you're working with where they stand.
Yeah,
Like, are
exactly.
they allies or are
Yeah.
they accomplices to the movement, right?
Yeah. Like that's the one thing I liked about my modeling was like the one time I did find it kind of a little funny, but I went to a modeling thing and I had to stand in front of this like painting or whatever, and it was like this orange painting, and they had me dressed in this orange dress, and I was the only native one there out of all of them. And when I was there, it was funny because the owner of the model industry, he goes, yeah, we're gonna put Saige in the yellow one because of Truth and Reconciliation Day. And I was like, I kind of blew me away. I was like, okay, whoa,
That's a bit on the nose,
whoa,
don't you
mine's a
think?
bit on the top. That was quick, but I was like, but at the same time too, I thought it was cool because I'm like, okay, at least you guys understand that aspect of being like, okay, well, we do want you to dress in this orange dress and that put like be in front of this picture because of that reason. So it has a meaning behind it,
Yeah,
and not just, oh yeah, this person's dressing in orange in front of this picture. It's
yeah.
more of like, actually, it was funny too because two ladies bought that dress that night. I was the only one that sold a dress that night. I was like, that's crazy. I was like, oh, okay.
Wow.
Yeah, I was caught off guard. I was like, it's not the best looking dress, but it was nice.
But the message
Yeah,
is probably the
exactly.
best one.
Yes, but
Yeah.
yeah. Mhm.
No, it's a weird line to try to walk across.
Mhm.
Um, there's so many nuances to that sort of concept, and I guess the best way to tackle it is just to be open with, educating
Mhm.
people on the language that's around it. I think the language
Mhm.
is the most important.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, just throughout my time, just educating others on the culture and that, or just like just understanding that sometimes you do have to put yourself out there to get where you need to go. Especially like me, if I want to, represent myself and educate others, I kind of need to just throw myself out there for like the first little bit until I get my feet grounded and be like, okay, I can do it myself and keep going with it.
And I think Indigenous people have gotten very good at taking systems that are meant to, either appropriate them or suppress them, and turning it on its head to serve us back again, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
When I was young, when I was growing up, it was very rare seeing, a character on screen, or in magazines, or when the internet started being a thing, of characters that I could actually relate to, that weren't like an inherent stereotypical joke on my culture. Now I'm there's so many more characters and people in social media that I genuinely do look up to, because I can connect with them on that standpoint. When it comes to the film that you're in, when it comes to future films, or when it comes to your modeling, what do you hope other people see when they're looking at you on screen?
Representation, I guess, in that way of being like, because like not only like of me being on the screen, of like if like sharing my story at the same time with other people, of being like, even though you feel out of place and stuff like that, or even though you have a different skin color and stuff, you still belong somewhere, and you're meant for something big. Don't settle for less type of thing, and to keep going through like the hard times, the struggles, and especially as an Indigenous person and from the communities that we come from, like addictions and stuff like that. Like our communities are reserves, most of our reserves are really bad, but especially for the youth, to see another Indigenous person on the screen, to be like, okay, well, I want to be like that one day. Like I want to, be something big as an Indigenous kid and stuff, to have that dream. So that's my big goal, is like wanting to inspire youth is my whole thing. Especially with the modeling and acting. I know I've met a few girls who've been wanting to get into the modeling and stuff, so I'm talking to them about it, but definitely representation of we can be strong and pull through everything. Yeah.
When it comes to your creative work, and all your different avenues, dancing, acting, modeling, what keeps you the most grounded going through all of it?
Singing.
Yeah, sing through all of it.
It's a funny one, but yeah, I do sing a lot when I'm at home and stuff. I recently got gifted a drum, once again by my coworker Lillian. She gifted me that drum.
Lillian's a G.
Yeah, right. But they gifted me that drum because I did sing a lot, whether it was alone or with someone. Mainly alone, because I'm really insecure about my singing. But they inspired me. She inspired me to keep going and stuff. So a lot of times when I'm going through something bad, or like I need to let out emotions while I'm going through something, I'll sing, because it's like I'm singing songs that I relate to, or I'm singing my powwow music and stuff like that. And I'm alone by myself, and I don't care what anyone else thinks about my voice or anything. So and plus too, I was taught by an elder a long time ago that music is a big part of like our culture, healing as well. And when I was trying to get into singing, I asked her, I'm like, well, I want to sing. How do I sing? And she goes, I always imagine every time I sing that my voice is being carried and it's going up into the clouds and go into this like circle into the clouds to Creator, so Creator could hear my voice. And I was like, oh, I like that.
Wow,
So
that's beautiful.
Yeah, so ever since then, I always thought about that every time I sang. So shout out to Linda. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, definitely singing, smudging, and just talking with family members and elders when I go through things. So yeah.
With all of your experiences that you've shared on camera here, and everything that's brought you to this point, when we talk about the word resilience, 'cause that comes up a lot through our different stories. I mean, it's the name of the podcast.
Yeah.
What does that word really mean to you?
Thriving. So there, up in the north, there's this plant called a fireweed, and it's one of my favorite plants. And it's a purple kind of pink plant, and it grows up to 9 feet tall. And this plant you can make into tea, and it's really good tea. But not only that, the fireweed only grows when a forest fire has been through an area. So in Yellowknife, you see a bunch of them. People see that as resilience, because even though the forest burnt down, there's no plants and stuff, this beautiful flower came through. And it's the first plant to come through compared to all the other plants. And it just shows how beautiful something can be created out of the chaos of it, or out of the hurt of it, that it still pushes through and is like, I'm here. And even though things around me aren't the best right now, I'm still going to be shining. I'm still going to be this beautiful pink purple flower in this pile of ashes type of thing. So for me, it's like thriving through the hurt and like pushing through it. And even though things do get hard and things fall to the ground, you still get up in the end. You're like, I'm going to keep going for my people and for myself as well. So yeah, thriving and just living is what I see what resilience would be.
I love that
Yeah.
story. Thank you for
Yeah,
sharing that.
of course. I love it. Fireweeds are my favorite. You'll see them all over in the north. So.
Ah, I need to go up there. I've never been up
You
that far
have
north.
to. It's so beautiful up there. It's very culturally rich, so that's why I love it up there.
Well, when you start your own podcast, I will come up and do an episode with you.
Yeah, I love that.
So I know you're pretty bogged down with all of the premiere stuff going on. There's a good chance that this short film that you're a part of is going to be turned into its own feature film too. So that's going to make you pretty busy.
Yes.
I doubt you're going to be able to cover all of the filming in 3-4 days.
Yeah.
Like you did with this one.
Exactly.
But you know, in the way future, what are you hoping for yourself? Where do you see yourself with all of this?
With all of this, actually, my end goal is just to have my own plot of land with my own home and to live off the land again. Because even though I love the acting, I love the modeling and stuff, and it is fun at times, that's not what I wanted in the end. That's not what I wanted my whole life. What I wanted my whole life is to be back on the land, to live the old ways and stuff. So the end goal is just to get back to how our people used to be and stuff. It would be cool if I can get far with this modeling and acting stuff, so I can, expand my horizons, see where I go, and travel the world and stuff for sure. But end goal is to be back on the land, full time. Yeah.
At the end of the day, you're not an actor, you're not
Exactly.
a model, you're not a dancer, you're Saige.
Exactly.
Right? And
Yeah.
these are all just tools to get you to where you really want to go.
Exactly. So yeah, it's how it is in my life. So I'm just going with the flow. But yeah.
For anyone who's connected with any part of your story, whether your upbringing, the tough times, the not so tough times, the acting, the modeling, the dancing, anyone who's trying to find their way back to culture or just back to themselves, are there any last words that you'd like to leave them off with?
I know life can get super hard. I know at times you feel like it could just stop, but you weren't put on this earth just to have it end so quickly. You were put on this earth for a reason, and the people in your life will know that. And if you have goals that you want to reach, and even though they keep failing each time you try, you keep doing it and you keep pushing through it. Because in the end, it will all matter. And what I always say when I go through hard times is, will this matter within a year from now? Where will I be within a year from now? That's what kept me going, was I knew I was meant for something more. And I knew that where I was at my point in life, that wasn't it. And I knew that wasn't the end for me. So all in all, don't give up. And it's a cliche thing to say, but it's the truth. It's push through those hard times, and that's what makes you stronger, and to be able to push past other things in the future that you go through when you're succeeding in these things. So yeah, just pushing through. resilience. Yeah.
Resilience.
Yeah. Yeah.
Beautiful way to put that, and beautiful story. Thank you so much
Yeah,
for your
of course.
vulnerability today and for coming down here. I know you traveled quite a ways
Yeah.
just to sit down
Yeah.
in front of me and share your whole life story.
I love
So
it. Yeah. I'm very
thank you
grateful.
again, and I'm so grateful
Mhm.
that I've been able to know you in the way that I do, and I'm looking so forward to seeing where your acting career takes
Yeah.
you
Mhm.
and just where life takes you in the future.
Thank you so much, honestly, to have me on this podcast, just because, like I said, I don't really talk much about myself. So to be able to actually tell my story is really nice. So thank you very much. I'm really
Oh,
grateful.
Saige, I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. Don't say that. I'm going to cry.